Question 1. A path is 130 metres long to the nearest 10 metres. So you'd write 130. 10 metres above would be 140, and 10 metres below would be 120. But because it's to the nearest, it's the midpoint you're looking for. So the top value is 135, and the bottom value is 125. Write an inequality. That's those sort of crocodile-looking arrows. You have the lower number on the left-hand side, so 125. You put a value in the middle. It could be metres. So I'm going to put M for metres. You could choose any letter here, by the way. And on the right-hand side, the larger number of 135. Finally, to get it absolutely right, you can't actually be 135, because if you round it to nearest 10, that would actually be 140. But you can be 125, so you stick an extra line on that one. Question 2. This time it's rounded to one decimal place. So if it was 12.8, above it would have been 12.9, and below it would be 12.7. So the upper bound is between these two, it's 12.85, and the lower bound is 12.75. Again, use the inequalities. Lower number first, 12.75. This is centimetres squared. Extra arrow on the first one, because you can be that. And the second one was 12.85. Okay, next question. Work out the area of a circle with a radius of 5. So, first of all, area of circle, recall the formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. So your area equals pi times, and the radius was 5, so it's 5 squared. The exact answer is 25 pi. But it says here to one decimal place. If you put that on your calculator and press the SD button, this one, S to D, it'll turn it into a decimal for you. I haven't got a calculator with me, but I think it's 78.5. Okay, next question. A circle has an area. Again, circle area. Let's recall the formula. Area equals pi times r squared. And it tells you the answer is 49 pi. So the answer is 49 pi. So instead of area, I'm going to use 49 pi. So 49 pi must equal pi times r squared. So they told you the area. Well, both sides have got pi on them. So we just look at the other bits and say, well, 49 must be the same as r squared. To find r, if it's r squared to make 49, use square root 49. And the square root of 49 is 7. Many of you wrote 7 in the answer section, but not actually the words or letters r equals 7, which is what they're looking for. So r equals 7, and to be more specific, it's centimetres squared, so r was a distance of 7 centimetres for the best answer. Okay, next question. Okay, the diagram shows the plan view. Plan view means the view from above. So if you're looking from above, you'd see the picture we're looking at now. I notice it's a rectangle and a semicircle. It says work out the total surface area, so area is what we're looking for. First I'd find the area of the rectangle, which is 6 times 10, which is 60 metres squared. Secondly, we need to work out the area of this, which is half a circle. So that area is half a circle. So we do the whole circle. So the whole circle we know is pi times radius squared. The radius from here to here, there's the line from there to there, that distance is only 3, because the whole distance there was 6, and radius is half that. So the area of the whole circle is pi times 3 squared, which is pi times 9. However, because it's a whole circle, we only wanted half the circle, we only want this bit here. Therefore, if we halve that amount, half of pi times 9 is 4.5, because that's what half of 9 is. Half the circle is 4.5 pi. Now your final answer is you add the two areas together. So you add the 60 for this bit and the 4.5 pi. Now you want to put that on a calculator, 4.5 pi. I'm going to ask someone in the room to do it for me. Can someone type in 4.5 times pi? 14.1. Okay, and then you add on the 60, so 60, add the 14.1 for your final answer. It's 74.1 centimetres squared, because it was an area. Okay, so add the rectangle to the half circle. What is the perimeter of the pool? Give your answers 3 significant figures. Perimeter means the distance around the outside edge. So it's the distance from here to here, which is 10. It's the distance down here, which is 6. The distance along here, which is still 10. So it's going to be 10 plus 6 plus 10 plus the curved length. Let's change colour. So there's your curve length. We have to find that curve length. So I'm going to put curve. Now the curve is part of a circle. So if we went the whole way around a circle, it's called circumference. So if we do the circumference of the whole circle, where I call the formula, it's pi times diameter. So circumference is pi times, we look at the diameter, that's the whole way across, which means that distance there is 6. So pi times 6 is your whole circumference, but we only wanted half of that, so what we're going to do now is we're going to halve it. That's for the whole circle. So if we halve it, we get pi times 3, which is quicker written as 3 pi. So 3 pi is your curved distance. Let's add these others together. So 10 plus 6 plus 10 plus 3 pi. Type that onto a calculator to get yourself a decimal. So it's going to be 3 pi. I'm going to ask someone else to type in 3 pi for me on a calculator. Okay, that is 9.42. And then when you add them all up, 9.42 plus the other numbers is 35.4. And it said 3 significant figures. The number after the 4 was a 2, so it stays as 35.4. It's distance, so it's in centimetres. Okay. Question 5. OAB is the sector of a circle, so part of a circle. Work out in terms of pi, so you don't need to press the SD button this time. The perimeter. Perimeter, we've got 6 down here, plus 6 down here, plus the curve. I'll change the for the curve, so the curve is that bit, so it's plus the curve. Now the curve is part of the circle. The way you know how much of the circle is use the degrees. So it's not the whole circle, it's 30 out of a possible amount of degrees of 360 if it was the whole one. So 30 out of 360, remember to cancel down, that would be the same as 3 over 36, which is the same as 1 over 12. So 1 over 12, it's a 12th of the whole circle. So that's how much we need. Now the perimeter of the whole circle is called circumference. So circumference was pi times diameter. Because this is a sector, it only goes to the middle, so the diameter would actually be all the way across there, from there to there. So the whole length is 12. So the circumference is pi times 12. So if the whole distance is pi times 12, and we want a 12th of that, that's just going to be pi. Because if you times by 12 and then divide by 12, you get back to your starting point. So your answer for the little curvy bit is just pi. 6 plus 6 is 12, so the answer is 12 plus pi. For the second bit, the area of the sector, it's going to be linked to the area of a circle, which is area of the whole thing would be pi r squared, which would be pi times, the radius is 6, so it's pi times 6 squared. 6 squared is 36, so the whole circle has an area of 36 pi, but we didn't want the whole circle, we wanted a 12th of it. And when you find a 12th of something, you divide by 12. So the area is going to be 36 pi divided by 12, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. So the area was 3 pi. Okay, last question. Okay. Oh no, penultimate question. The diagram shows a cylindrical tin of soup. It's asking you for the volume. If I miss the bits out, we'll come back to them in a minute. The volume of the soup left in the tin. So if we're looking for volume of this shape, it's the distance from the middle to the outside edge. We're going to use the area of the top bit, it's called the cross section, and we're going to times it by 14. Imagine these circles all lied on top of each other, it would form that cylinder. So we're going to do the area of the top bit, which is pi times 4 squared. And 4 squared is 16, so that's the same as saying 16 pi. That's the top bit. If we then times that answer by 14, it gives us the whole volume. So the volume of the whole thing was 16 pi times 14, which is 224 pi. Don't forget the pi. Okay, now it says 3 significant figures, so I'm actually going to find out what this is in decimal by pressing the SD button. So that gives you 703.716, so I'll call it 72 for now. So that's the volume of the whole thing. But it's someone, it says here, Aidan eats 400 millilitres of the soup. Now, centimetres cubed and millilitres are the same measurements. So 1,000 centimetres cubed is the same as 1,000 millilitres. So if he eats 400, we're taking away 400 of this, because he's eating it. So if we now take away 400, 703.72, take 400, is going to be 303.72. 3 significant figures, however, the 303 gets rounded up by the 7 and becomes 304. Okay, question 7. Okay, asks you for the total surface area, and you're given the surface area formula here. So surface area, we have the curved surface, but we need to add on the bottom. So we're going to plus this bit on the bottom, which is a circle. So the curved surface plus the flat surface. The curved surface is 4 pi r squared, and we're adding on the flat surface, which is pi r squared. If I work out what these are, it tells me the diameter is 10, and if the diameter is 10, it means the radius must have been 5. So it's 4 pi r squared plus pi r squared. In total, that would make 5 pi r squared, because I'm adding 4 and 1 together. There's a 1 there. R is 5, so it's 5 times pi times r squared. Oh, actually, what we can do instead, I'll rub that out, because we're not using the whole surface area of the sphere, we're only using half of it. Here, the curved surface area of the whole sphere is 4 pi r squared, but remember, we only want half of it, so we want half of that. So actually we don't want all 4 pi r squared, we want half, so it's 2 pi r squared. That's the half, or the hemisphere. It said hemisphere up here. So that's the hemisphere, then we're adding on pi r squared. When we add those two together, 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared is actually 3 pi r squared. If r is 5, it becomes 3 times 5 squared, which is 3 times 25, which is 75 pi. It did say leave your answer in terms of pi.